Hey, it's Josh here from the HiTech Podcast, here to share some thoughts I've been thinking about this week related to ChatGPT. Now, some of you are probably hearing that and you're like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. This is all everybody wants to talk about. Some of you are like, cool, I'm totally in for this. Let's talk about ChatGPT. I don't know where you're at with the conversation here. All I know is that OpenAI and ChatGPT are the hot button topic, both in technology in general and ed tech right now. Let's just be honest. That's what everybody's talking about. How do we use it? What prompts do we put in? What do we do with it? What are going to be the impacts of it? Everybody across the spectrum are having all these different thoughts and ideas around this tool. And I by no means am considering myself an expert here. I just want to share what I've been thinking about and get your thoughts back as well. The reason I've been thinking about ChatGPT a lot this week recently is both because I've been playing around with it and Notion AI, but also because in my job in ed tech and the place I'm in, I've now been asked a couple different times whether or not I am concerned about AI and ChatGPT, right? Because that's one of the questions going around. Should we be concerned? And I feel like everybody's answers fall on different spectrums, from let's be terrified of Terminator to this is great, this is the best tool ever, it's going to change everything, nothing's ever going to be the same. And I probably fall somewhere in the middle, right? I'm not afraid that Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to pop up and take me out now, but I'm also not on the side where I think ChatGPT is the savior of all things and going to be perfect for everything. I think at the end of the day, it's a fabulous tool. It's making my grammar a ton better in my writing, and it's also helping me brainstorm and shorten down things that I'm using. And there's plenty of other uses, from images uses. I was just talking to a professor this week who was saying that there's AI tools now coming out to help pick out like layouts for marketing when you're kind of pitching to people what layouts you want. All these things are fantastic. They're great. But I do have a concern about ChatGPT, about AI tools. And it's really the same reason I think I'm not thinking that this tool is going to be the absolute lifesaver changer that some people are presenting it to be. So the reason I've been thinking about this, and I think what's really solidified my opinion about this, was a podcast I was listening to this week, where a guy by the name of Andy Crouch that I like to listen to was talking about technology. He was asked about ChatGPT, and he said a lot of different things about it. What I thought was very interesting, though, is he had shared that he had actually had access to this in its earlier forms, where it was a little less user-friendly and wasn't public to everyone. And he said his reaction now has kind of been with it is kind of just not as excited and blown away as he used to be. He said he had the same reactions everybody else did when you first type stuff in. You're doing stuff, wow, it's crazy all the stuff that this can do, and it's absolutely going to change the way certain people do their jobs and what they do. But he said he had kind of the same reaction he did when he got his first Roomba, which was that when he got his first Roomba, he was so mind blown that this vacuum was vacuuming things itself. But then after time, it kind of became novel. It kind of became one of those things that was like, I guess we got to start the vacuum up again. And he said he's kind of having the same feelings about ChatGPT. And I realized this is the same reason I'm not just like blown away that it's going to change everything in all the ways we do absolutely everything, and nothing will ever be the same after ChatGPT. Because at the end of the day, I think it's just a tool. At the end of the day, it is not thinking at the same level of complexity that a human being really can. Sure, it sounds a lot better. It can find information way faster than some of us can. But when it comes to deep thought, critical thinking, I'm not sure AI will ever really get there. And that's also why I have a concern about ChatGPT. Because at the end of the day, I think this tool could further create a digital literacy problem. Now, before I explain why, what is digital literacy? I define digital literacy really at the end of the day as this idea of how we evaluate and use information from the digital sphere that we pull into. And I think it's a lot of different ways. It's how we create content. It's how we interact with websites. It's how we do what we do. But I think what I'm talking about here when I refer to digital literacy is how we critically think about the information we get from online. We already have a problem with digital literacy. We're trying to teach our students to carefully evaluate what they read on the internet, but it's not just our students. People struggle to carefully think through what they read on the internet. The amount of people that just post and repost what they see on social media without carefully thinking about the impact it will have on someone, or even if that information is correct or not, or even carefully thinking about the perspectives of the person who posted it. I'm afraid ChatGPT, my concern about ChatGPT and AI tools is that if we're not careful, it will further this issue in our society and in us as people. Because it's even more dangerous than just Google searching or social media. It presents itself, in of itself, it's built to be like a digital oracle. That if you ask it a question, it responds, but it doesn't just respond with information. It responds like a human being would respond with information. And it sounds correct. And so many times it is. It does a great job at coalescing information and giving it to us. But there are so many reports and things that people are finding where, you know what, it's actually not right. It's wrong in many places and sometimes. But it does such a good job at bullcrapping that it comes across as correct. Honestly, ChatGPT would be a great politician, if we're being honest. So my concern with ChatGPT is more that it will further that divide of digital literacy. Now, does that mean I think we should shut down AI and stop using it? No. Because at the end of the day, it's a tool, and it's our jobs as human beings to be aware of the pitfall of using it. That it can make us less literate when it comes to digital information and what we use. And so, while we're early in this conversation, I'm actually excited about AI. Not because of just that it will save everyone and do everything that we need it to do, but that it can resurface important conversations about how we critically think about the information we read and look at on the internet. So in the education sense, right? Because we're the HiTech Podcast, I'm excited and I push educators to say, you know what, use ChatGPT, but use it in a way to get information and have your students critically think about that information. Think about the perspective that it's coming from. Think about what it's giving us, and think about how that's right, maybe wrong, how it's missing context, and show and use it as a tool to help our students develop those critical thinking muscles to be more digitally literate as they interact with the information that we get online. At the end of the day, ChatGPT is a powerful tool, and we need to be thinking critically as we get the information from it. And I'm excited to see all of the opportunities and things that educators will be doing. And I just push us to be careful and critically think in ChatGPT just like we would in Google or any other resource that we have. So those are my thoughts. Super excited to hear what you're thinking. If you're talking about ChatGPT or you've got some ideas around this idea of ChatGPT and digital literacy, drop some notes in the comments here on Twitter or on YouTube, and we'd be happy to interact with you here at the HiTech Podcast. We're super excited to see what the future holds for AI and tools